I've done the villains of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now it's time for the heroes, who in my opinion are much better than the villains of the show, as unlike Gotham, the heroes on this show are the ones who pop. This will be part 1 of part 2. This video will be on the main characters, while part 2 will be on heroes like Ghost Rider, Deathlok, Victoria Hand, who were also on the show but weren't main characters. Phil Coulson, while I always found him charming in the movies, he became one of my favorite MCU characters until Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I thought he had a great journey from being just a side agent to being a team leader, but in a different way than Nick Fury was. With Coulson's personal and professional lives being intertwined, this gave him a great connection with his agents, being more than just their boss or co-worker, but he was their friend, and even taking on a kind of father figure role for young agents like Daisy, Fitz, and Simmons. Morally Daisy than the others, but I would also argue that Fitz and Simmons kind of sound like a dad as well. Clerk Gregg brought so much emotion to the role, but it came to how he reacted to others around him being hurt, or when it comes to his own personal plots like him being resurrected. Overall, Phil Coulson was an amazing character. I thought he was funny, he had great storylines, he had great plots, and overall, like I said, he was a great character, he was just a great character. It's hard to exactly say specifics because Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. was a very long show, as it was 7 seasons, so I can't really go that deep into specifics because there's just so much about Phil Coulson I loved. So I'll say some little things I really liked about his character. I really liked when he was carving on the walls and how he reacted. I loved that he had the shield. I loved his relationship with May. I thought they had a very good dynamic. It was very organic, but also it worked really interestingly as both platonic, but they're also flirty, so you couldn't really tell if they were friends or if they liked each other in a more, romantic way, which I think the romantic route was definitely the feel I got, but I could see people seeing them more as just friends, but they did eventually end up getting, tying the knot. Overall, I really like Phil Coulson as a character, and I think he was a great individual on the show, and I was really sad when he wasn't in season 6, even though the Clark Gregg did return as Sarge, which I talked about in my villains video. I wasn't the biggest fan of Sarge. I thought it was a very obvious way to just keep Clark Gregg around, even if I love Clark Gregg as an actor. I personally, it kind of took me out of the show, but I was happy that he came back in season 7. And like I said, overall, Phil Coulson was a great character, and I really wish he returned to the MCU eventually. Quake or Daisy or Skye is my favorite character on the show, seeing her from being a rebel hacker to faithful S.H.I.E.L.D. agent to superhero. It all also happened very organically. Sometimes I think in these kind of shows they have very forceful storylines. That never happened with Daisy's character, which I genuinely was surprised about, because if it was, I probably wouldn't have minded, because that's her character in the comics. But on the show, it came across very organically. The reason why she became a superhero is because her boyfriend died. The reason because she was a hacker or living on the streets is because she had no parents and no home. The reason why she became a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent because she had no place to go. It really just felt like she was lost in the world and found her place. And in my opinion, it came across very relatable and very organic. Chloe Bennett is also, I think, an amazing actress, which is why I felt bad for her when she got cast in the Powerpuff Girls. Never mind that though, because that has something to do with this. I just really felt bad for her that she got cast in the Powerpuff Girls. Also, I thought her powers are extremely cinematic, while also you could see that they really had a budget when it comes to the show, but you can tell that it was done very smartly, but it's also very cheap. Like, I'm not complaining, by the way. I thought her powers looked really cool, but you can tell how they did it, like how they would always have those shots of her hair blowing backwards, like to tell you that, oh, she's using her powers. That was because they couldn't afford to always show her using her powers, but you could imply them, and I thought they did it really, really well by not making it stand out that they had a budget, and especially when it came to her abilities. In my opinion, I thought her character also was given a lot of cool superhero outfits as well. I really liked her clash with her parents, both her mom and her dad. I thought she, in my opinion, had a very interesting dynamic with her parents. It wasn't those sappy, superhero stories about parents and how they died. And instead, I thought her parents came across very organically, and each character I thought was very distinct from one another, as they weren't grouped together. And I also like that Quake at the end of the day, didn't have the best relationship with her parents, which I thought was also something that a lot of people can relate with. And I also like that their character wasn't a perfect hero. She was flawed and embraced it. And that's just my personal opinion on Daisy Johnson. Melinda May, or the Calvary, is another amazing character. Her fight scenes on the show were probably the best ones on the entire show, or even in probably the MCU in general. Ming-Na Wen was a great actress. May's character's trauma was not just well written, but it felt very realistic in how her reaction to being put into that place that May was, forced into, and the decision she made, I thought was, well, a hard one. You understood why she made it, as if she didn't, all the agents would have died. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm referring to when she killed that girl, which out of context sounds really bad, and even with context, it's really bad, which is why it traumatized May. I've also always been a big fan of including mental health storylines into superhero storylines, and May's a great representation of that being well done. Her story also concluded with her now being a teacher, which I think was the best way of her character's story coming to an end, as it kind of made things full circle as she went from, okay, it's going to sound really bad, she went from killing kids to now teaching them. That sounds really bad, but you know what I'm trying to say. Mac. I really enjoyed Mac's character on the show with his friendship with characters like Fitz and Daisy. He made a great leader, and while I do think he made a couple questionable choices as director, he was put between a rock and a hard place, so I think we can all understand the choices he made. I thought of all the guys, he had the best fight scenes, as in male characters, as I thought May had the best female fight scenes. Okay, that sounds weird. May has the best fight scenes out of all the female characters, and Mac has the best fight scenes out of all the male characters. I thought he had his weapon of choice made him really pop with his axe gun type thing. I don't know what it's called, but I liked it. And overall, I really liked Mac's character. I thought he had a very cool, there's a cool feeling to him. I liked him a lot more on the show than the character of Mac in the comics, who is Alfonso Mackenzie, I think is how you say his name. I don't actually know. Personally, I never liked him in the comics, but here I thought his character was much better. He's not my favorite character, but he's certainly a very enjoyable character, and I really enjoyed his journey. Yo-Yo, or Slingshot, same as Daisy, I found her powers to be very cinematic, while you can also see how they did them on a TV show budget. Yo-Yo, I thought, made a great addition to the team. I thought she created a nice little bridge between the superhero-type storylines and the more realistic ones. And while I thought Daisy certainly helped with this too, I thought Yo-Yo was definitely the one who made you buy the idea that the team can struggle fighting ordinary humans, while also holding their own against aliens, as they have two superheroes on their side. I also thought her character, well, I did enjoy the fact that she had, a weakness where she can't exactly go super fast without bouncing back. I did enjoy that she eventually got over that, as, well, I liked the idea of having limitations to her abilities. I still thought it was a nice journey to the fact that she was able to get over it. And I really enjoyed her and May's friendship. I enjoyed her relationship with Mac. I enjoyed her whole deal with Fitz and Simmons. I just really liked her character, and I thought her character felt very much at home on the team. Leo Fitz, Ian did a great job with this role, and in a similar way as May, Fitz too is an amazing representative of mental health in superhero media, and like May, he never got over it. After his brain trauma in season 1, his character continued to stutter, like I do in my videos. But you still got to see him grow while still staying socially awkward at his core. His breakdown in season 5 when he became the Doctor was very heartbreaking to see, as I personally really like Fitz, and seeing his character just break like that was very gut-wrenching. But he was able to make it through it with Simmons and Yo-Yo by his side. And after his character would do some really weird time travel reasons of being frozen in space and other stuff, he was able to fight it before it could happen again, or happen in the first place. If you watch the show, you understand what I mean. If you don't watch the show, you're probably very confused. Either way, I thought Fitz was an amazing character. Like May, he also has been introduced into comics as of lately. Although his character in comics, unlike May and Simmons, who I'm also going to talk about soon, it hasn't really done much in comics. He's more or less just popped up here and there, but either way, I'm happy his character was included at all, as I really like his character on the show, and I wish he did more in the comic book universe. Gemma Simmons, Elizabeth was a great actress, and while her character wasn't given many action scenes, her character moments were very strong. Season 3, Episode 5 is honestly the best example of Elizabeth's acting ability, where she and Will were the only characters in the episode. Focusing on Gemma's time on the alien planet, Simmons I thought was, despite being very emotional, wasn't a pushover or naive. I found her to be very dynamic with Fitz, and I thought her character was genuinely a very enjoyable individual to watch. That sounded really weird to say, and it sounded really weird out loud. So I kind of regret referring to her as that, but I still did it, and I'm not going to cut that out because it's kind of true when you think about it. Her character was genuinely, in my opinion, a very good character, and I really wish her character did more in the comics as well, although she does do more than Fitz, as she had the whole nuclear dying situation, which was never really resolved. But in the show, her character, I thought, was, in my opinion, a really good character on the show. Like, she was overall a very good character. There's not really anything negative about her character I found. I think her character and Fitz were very dynamic, and I thought her whole dynamic with Daisy was also great. Her whole situation when she was spying on Hydra was also an amazing plot device. I loved it when she was on the alien planet. I loved her and Will. Even though we were meant to hate Will, I honestly liked Will and her. And I thought they had a very strong chemistry, but it was a very different type of chemistry than her and Fitz. It was very interesting. I thought she had a lot of great one-liners, about when especially when the one when they got trapped in the future, and she was like, "Sure, I'm a biologist. Give me like 5 seconds to figure out time travel." And I thought her character overall was just funny and great. Bobby Morse and Lance Hunter were both great characters, but their stories were cut short as they were meant to be given a spin-off show, but that wasn't picked up. Which is sad because I think both characters have great potential, but the stories didn't really have a true ending, which was unfortunate, as neither character got their real ending, and at the end of the day, while I thought both characters were great, they didn't really have a literal ending. Instead, each character was given off a cliffhanger, which wasn't really resulted in it really anything. Personally, I thought both characters were amazing. I loved their fight scenes, I loved their connection with each other and their other characters, but other than that, they, like I said, didn't have much to do on the show because of their character being cut short. But what they did got to do was, in my opinion, great, and I loved their fight scenes. I thought Bobby had the second best fight scenes, Rand or May. I thought Lance had some great fight scenes too, and I really wish those two characters got to appear more. Triplet, another character I think deserved more, but he was given a proper ending, so I can't complain. In fact, his character was meant to be killed off a lot earlier and unceremoniously. He was meant to be introduced as a red shirt, so I should be grateful as much as we got to see of him. As I thought his character was it was very interesting because he had a very strong connection to the rest of the MCU, being the grandson of, I think, Gabe Jones, is that his name? One of the Howling Commandos, which in my opinion gave a stronger connection to the rest of the MCU. This character was unfortunately killed off, which I think I would rather have had him a little bit longer. Honestly, I would have liked to have him for the entire show, but we didn't get that. I'm kind of sad that his character got killed off because I really like Triplet and I really like the actor who played him, who I'm really sorry, I don't remember the name off the top of my head. And either way, I'm still happy we got to see as much of him as we did, as, like I said, he was originally meant to be killed off a lot earlier. In fact, he was meant to be killed off all the way in Season 1. As during that whole Hydra breakout situation with Garrett, he was going to be killed off in the climax of that instead of being killed off partway through Season 2. And that's it. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.